What a beauty that is, two-tone car. Okay, welcome to the Old Classic Car channel, and today we are off to the Crewe Heritage Centre for another of their monthly meetings. This time it's the turn of the old Dodge. This hasn't been to a show for probably 3 or 4 years now, so it's high time it has a bit of an airing. As you can see, it's a bit of a chilly start, so we're going to have to wrap up quite well, but it's got fresh fuel in, fresh oil, pumped up the tyres, took it for a bit of a spin yesterday, and that all seemed to go according to plan. So hopefully we'll have a good day. The weather's set to be quite nice, so there should be a decent turnout of cars, and it'll be interesting to see what other pre-war cars turn up in particular. Alright folks, well, we made it. It was a bit of a chilly old journey, but we had plenty of gloves, blankets, all that kind of thing. The sun is still out. That's the main railway line just over there. What's here? There's a few here already. We've got a Rover 75 Estate, a latest Mustang, a Mercedes, is that a C-Class? Montego, we saw this one before. A Montego Mayfair, quite a rare sight now. A much modified Pop or Anglia, not quite sure. SA4 is popular. That's really smart. The paint finish on that is something else. And next to that we have a much lovely Austin 7. Good to see a few more pre-war cars popping out for this event. Lovely little car. I know who owns this one. He's got his side screens in. Maybe I should have done that. I just never think to use them, to be honest. There are some back in the garage, but not much use back there. But yeah, lovely day, lovely run over, and all being well, a great morning's meeting. More V8 noises. If you saw last month's video, you'll remember I had a long chat with the owner of this wonderful twin cam Mark I Escort. It's parked outside today in the sun. Great car. This was here last month as well. The mighty Cadillac. Over near the entrance, a wonderful Routemaster bus. MR2 Mark I. Got an HA Viva. Next up, is this a Dolomite or a 1500? 1500. This Mustang's a recent arrival. Look at the paint on that. It's a 1966 car, I think. Another Dodge. This is a Dodge Dart GT. Another 1966 car. Surfboard on the roof. Fruity exhaust. A Triumph 2000, a Mark II. Very nice. It's followed by, I don't know, Chevrolet. He's parking up in American corner. There's a good turnout of Dodges today. A 50s pickup. A Chevrolet. Got a Mark I MX-5. There's the Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud. A train going by. What a beautiful looking car that is. Pontiac next. Converted to diesel. And a Mini. Very handsome rolls. Immaculate Vauxhall Viva HC. Vauxhall Omega and a TVR. Morris Minor arriving to the TVR soundtrack. A Mustang down there, a big Chevy day van. Let's have a closer look at this Mgb Minor. A very smart car indeed. There's that Triumph 1500 that pulled in before. There's a lovely TR4A 1966 car, complete with the Surrey roof, lift out centre roof panel. So you've got the best of both worlds, you can lift off that main roof panel. Just have a quick look inside this wonderful 1961 Morris Minor. Yeah, can do. Very handsome car. Yeah, if you could pop the bonnet, that'd be great, thanks. Well, that's clean under there. Was it like this when you got it?
Yes, I've tried to keep on top of it best I can.
Yes. So this is a 1961, so it's like a bit of a transition car, because the earlier cars obviously had the split windscreen and the clap hand wipers. Then they went to the one-piece screen like this one, but for a while they still had the clap hand wipers, i.e. this one goes that way and the other one goes the other way. So yeah, it's a very smart little car, and it's immaculate under here. That is in lovely condition. We appear to have a Triumph TR6 coming in. Is this the same one that we saw last time? I'm not quite sure. Let's just have a quick look. J registration. It's got its roof up. Oh dear. A smooth burble of the 2.5 litre straight six, fuel injected. And got another Mini.
So I said she paid me back.
I says, I've got you this because I said, what are you going to get? Something else too big and cumbersome. You want from the service. I need this one. I've got you this one.
Mark III Fiesta. There's that Mini we saw pulling in before. A much modified MX-5 that we saw driving in. Here is that Woolsey minivan. Very cool. There's a Mark II Triumph that was pulling in before. Complete with, what are those seats? Alfa Romeo seats. Looks very comfy in there. Excellent cruiser, 2 litre straight six. Of course, that's a relative of the engine in the TR6 we saw before. We've got another Triumph 2000 here. Very original looking car. There's the Morris 1000 coming in. I've got pickup truck row, Chevy, Ford. Here's our Dodge that we saw come in before. Great sign writing on this one, nicely recreated. And we got a Chevrolet C10. Very smart dolly sprint. The 69 Pontiac Firebird. The dolly's just parking up. Crewe Bumper Mgb. It's a very tidy Metro. TR5, 2.5 litre fuel injected car, a bit like the TR6. Fantastic sound. Another 6-cylinder Triumph, a Gt6 Mark III. Very nice. Triumph tune exhaust. Maestro pulling in. And next in we've got this glorious 3 litre VDP Princess. What a beauty that is, two-tone car. Such a smooth sounding car, 6-cylinder. That is followed by another Hillman Imp.
Put a dust ups.
Well, this wonderful 3 litre Vanden Plas has pulled up, so I'm just going to have a quick word with the owner. So what year is this one then?
61.
So this is a 61.
It's early 61.
And you say you bought it in
19, just before lockdown.
2019, just before lockdown.
Yeah.
And what condition was it in then? Was it all done?
Pretty dreadful.
Was it?
It was close to scrap, really.
Was
I
it?
think unless you could throw the labour in yourself, I think
Yeah.
it would have ended up on the banger track if it had run that far.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a lot of work.
So how did you go on getting the parts for it?
Well, a lot of it was bodywork.
Yeah.
And then mechanically, of course, we're lucky because it shares a lot with the Austin Healey.
Yes.
The 3 litre Healey.
3
so
litre,
that
yes.
was quite handy because I've got carb bits and well, you can get head gaskets and stuff like that. So it's not too bad.
Is it like the MGC? Is it similar to that?
Yeah, similar
Right.
to the early MG, not the MGC. It's more like the early Healey with the twin carb rather than the triple.
Oh, right, got you.
Different head on those.
Right.
But it runs nice enough. I wouldn't say it's very fast.
So it was a real sort of weldathon then to sort of
It
get
was
it.
really. I think there was about 9 or 10 months of welding.
Was it? Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
How about the
Ended up-
interior? What was that like? Was
Well, that was pretty bad.
Was it?
actually. Yeah, so I found someone who could do me that because I don't do trimming. That's the only thing on this car I haven't done.
Yeah.
Just the seats and the door cards. I did the headlining and 1 or 2 other bits, but I don't do trimming of seats.
No. So you've got the Renault already. You've had that a while then. The Renault 8
I've got
Gordini.
I've got a 64 convertible Mustang as well.
Yes, I've
Which
seen
the
that.
gold
I've
one,
seen
bronzy
that,
gold
yeah.
one. You
So
might
why
have
did you go for this then? Because it's very different to
My dad
the
had
Renault
one.
8. Oh, your dad had one.
Well, he had an A99 Westminster. This is an
Oh,
A99 in drag with fancy bits on.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
So that's
it's
that's
just a
why.
nostalgia thing.
Curiosity.
That's what I mean. It's a very different car to a Mustang, isn't it? And the
Totally
little
different.
Renault.
Yes, yeah. It's got better brakes than a drum brake Mustang because it's disc up front.
Oh, right.
So
got
it's
you.
quite a good braking system, but power-wise, it's well down on what I'm used to with a Mustang.
So what sort of speed does it roll along at?
Oh, well, it'll get up
Comfortably?
there eventually. It'll do
Will it?
nearly 100 if you want
Will
to.
it?
But it's the acceleration pulling away. They tend to be a little bit on the slow side.
Got you. Got
I
you.
think the later engine was a bit more power.
Right.
So that is probably better. I've just bought a Westminster actually, a 63.
All right.
That's another blooming project, isn't it? But they apparently have got more power, but I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, right.
As soon as I bought it,
So
the
that's
brake
not-
pedal went to the floor.
So that's not on the road quite then.
No.
No.
It could be,
Yeah.
but I don't want to risk it until I've had a really good look round it.
Right. Right.
So,
No, it's a beauty,
despite
isn't it?
a long MOT, it's got no brakes.
Can I have a quick peek inside? Will that be okay? Wow.
The dash is a bit of a lash up really for the moment.
So you've had these retrimmed, have you, the seats?
Yeah,
So that's all been done.
Cards. I had a guy do those,
Wow.
and then I bought a set of carpets, which ain't marvellous. I think I might have bought the wrong set.
Oh, right.
This is a crossover between an A99 and a 110. But
Wow. And the
Things could be
original
rectified.
radio. Is Master's voice radio in there? Does that work?
no, no, I couldn't be bothered with it.
That's still on the to-do list, is it?
Yeah, I'm not bothered about a radio.
No.
It's quite a nice sound, the engine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Near
It sounded
line
lovely
6.
as it purred by.
Yeah, it
sounded
does.
fantastic.
It's got a nice sound to it, really.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a beautiful car, that is. Do you know anything of its history then, or where it's been? Or
Unfortunately, no, I don't.
Right.
Other than those guys at the NEC that told me it had been scrapped twice, I don't know anything else about it.
Wow.
And when you buy a car now, which is 2019, you don't get it. I don't even know who the previous owner was.
it's
I
all
bought it
hidden
off a
away
dealer.
now, isn't it? It's all hidden away now,
Yeah,
and
it
you
is.
can't. You
I
can't.
bought it off a dealer.
Because in the old days you could do the V8
Well, you
88,
could.
couldn't you? And
You could. I did.
send the
I did
form off.
once on one car. They sent me a full list of everybody.
Yeah.
I'm hoping maybe someone on the internet will spot it somewhere and then
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I used
Well,
to
if
have
if anyone watching this recognises this particular car, which let's have another look at the back, YFF 503. Is that a reissued number? Is it? Do you know what it was originally?
Yeah, I do somewhere.
Yeah.
I know it's one of those numbers that's 4 digits and 2 letters.
Right.
I can't remember them in
one
my
of those,
memory.
is it? But
It was
someone,
one of those.
someone swiped that, have they?
Oh, I
at
think
some
they
point.
have, yeah. Be on something or other.
Got a little
I think I did
badge
find
there.
out it was on a Mercedes.
Oh dear. Yeah, these number plate pirates have no scruples, do they?
Pity really, isn't it?
Well, it just breaks
Yeah.
that link, doesn't it?
It
Because
is, it's a shame really, because
yeah.
a car keeps its number for life, doesn't it, if you don't transfer it?
it should do. It should
Yeah.
do. They should all be non-transferable, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they should really, shouldn't they?
yeah.
If a car's over a certain age, that's it. You
Yeah,
can't have it. you
I
know.
think so. Yeah. Well,
Keep
thanks
it.
very much for showing us around this fantastic Princess 3 litre. And if anyone recognises it or knows any of its history, please pop a note in the comments, and it'll find its way back to the current owner. Thanks for that. Yeah. So it's 3 litre,
Yeah, 2912 is the capacity.
right? Straight 6.
Straight 6. Nothing
Fantastic.
very fancy.
Twin SUs.
Yeah,
Wow.
nice big brake
Yeah. Yeah.
Decent sized radiator.
You got an alternator on it.
Well, I converted. It was dynamo.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was well, it packed up, to be honest.
Did it?
The box, not the dynamo itself.
Hmm.
The box packed up.
Got you.
You need nowadays often to drive with lights on, and dynamos they don't kick out enough at idle.
They're not great, are they? No. No.
Let's go. I've got one, so I thought that's why not.
Yeah.
It's
Let's.
easy to put on one of these.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to change it to negative earth. It was positive,
Oh, got you.
but that
Right.
only involved altering the fuel pump.
Mm.
Everything else works the same.
Well,
So that's an easy mod.
another dolly here that's pulled in since I last looked. Got sprint alloys, but which model is it? Does it say? It's an automatic.
Yeah, that was on. That's that one, T-Go. Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Alongside this Granada, we've got another Triumph 2000 Mark II. Green one this time on the alley wheels. It's just one of the cars I've considered for like a regular user classic, because something like that would be super usable, be able to do distances with it. So this is certainly one of these would be on the short list. Nice proper number plate on the back. I do like a proper number plate. Yeah, I do like these a lot. There's the Mark II Cooper S that pulled in before. Very nice indeed, because it's very similar to the Mark I with the exterior door handle hinges, sliding windows, but the grille was different, and also the larger rear lights. Next to the Mark II Cooper S, we've got this very smart Imp here. Right, what's the deal with the Imp then? Why Hillman Imp?
They were cheap to buy, obviously cheaper than a Mini.
Yeah.
And I like the shape of them, and I think they're more stylish than a Mini. That's why.
Yeah. Well, of course, we've got one here. We've got a Mini alongside.
And it was cheap. It was £400.
Was it? How long ago was that?
2 years ago. It took me 2 years.
Was that
to
all?
restore it,
Oh,
yeah.
only 2 years. All right. So was it in a bit of a state? Was it?
It was, yeah. It's got a Godiva fire pump engine in it,
Was it?
which is the rally engine, which
Oh, right.
is a. It's got a 4-bearing crank, this engine is, where the original Imp only had a 3-bearing crank.
Oh, see, right.
So
So
this
it's
is
a lot
what-
more resilient then.
Yeah, more resilient, a bit hard wearing. This is what they put in the rally Imp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a rally Imp. So it's a 998, this is really.
Yeah.
Rev to about 9,000 revs. Those are the original gauges off the fire pump engine.
Oh, are they? Yeah, I was
And they
wondering
do work, actually. They
Wow.
still work. This was in a mess. I put new sills on it. They're Mark II Fiesta wheel arches.
that. Are they?
Yeah. There was no floor in it, no sills. Obviously, I had to weld the bottom of the doors. The front wings have all been welded. At the bonnet at the front, on every Imp you come to, they've all rotted away.
Do they?
So I welded this and lead filled it as well.
Oh, have you?
So and sprayed it myself. Everything that's been done on this car has been done by myself.
Cool.
So and the
So, in
Right,
memory
yeah.
of Marv.
Marv was my son-in-law, and he died
Oh,
in bed last year. So
Oh,
we bought
wow.
the car together. So we thought we'd just put.
So it was a
bit
joint project.
Yes.
That was the idea.
Yes.
Well, that's great, isn't it?
Yeah, £500 on the road when they were new.
Was it?
And this is a guy that did a run, a fuel run,
Yeah.
and he won first prize. And I think he did something like
Mr. D. Shepherd.
yes.
64.8 miles per gallon. Wow. So that was like a bit of a promotional thing done by this garage in Devon, Cox of
Yes.
Devon, Newport
Yeah.
Garage Barnstable.
He stopped at my house and gave me that when he was passing my house, and
Oh.
I think he won a set of wing mirrors
Did he?
as first prize.
A modest victory then.
Yeah, yeah. And this has got the new dash in, you see. Whereas
Oh right, let's have a look.
the old one's got the older dash.
Oh right, so is this the original dash then?
Yes.
So this is correct for the car?
Mileage.
Right. So what? 41,580.
Yes.
Wow. That's very smart in here. So did you have to do anything to the interior then, or was that okay?
We sprayed all the seats, they were brown.
Oh, so you've recoloured them all, have you?
So we sprayed them with an acrylic paint,
Right.
which you can use.
Oh, right, right.
You can buy this fancy paint off the internet, but you can do them with acrylic.
It's got big door bins, just like the Mini, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're quite a fun little thing to drive, actually.
Oh, I bet they are, yeah.
But
Because the reputation was a bit mixed early on, wasn't it?
They were built in Scotland by boat builders that didn't know what they were doing, basically.
Right, yeah. Didn't they sort of ship it up there and then bring it back down to sort of finish it off? And
And the reason why they stand so high at the front is because when they produced them, they found out that the side lights were legally too low. So they jacked the front of the car up.
Oh, right.
That's why they all stand a bit bow-legged at the front.
Oh, is that it? Oh, wow. No, it's a very bonny little car, isn't it? Like I say, I've seen your red one.
The red one's a 63.
That's a 63, the other one.
This
Right.
is a 76, so I've got one of the first and one of the last.
Right. Are there many differences between them then?
The body skin on this is a lot thinner than the 63.
Is it?
Yeah.
A lot of cars, they did lighten the gauge of the metal on
Well,
them,
they
didn't
did, and they imported all the steel. That's why the later ones tend to rot quicker than the early ones.
Well, like Russian steel or something.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not really an Imp fanatic, but they were cheap to buy, and I've done one, so I know what I'm doing now.
You know your way around them, yeah. No, that's great. It was great to see it out and about.
This has got a heated rear windscreen, which is dead rare.
Is it? Oh, right.
It's really rare. I mean, the back hatches are difficult to get to start with, like hen's teeth, really.
Yeah.
But the heated rear windows, you won't see many of those.
Was that just an optional thing, was it?
It was, yeah. Yeah, I think at the latter end, they just threw all the extras onto them to try and get rid of them.
Shift them all, yeah. Oh, it's a great little survivor, this one, isn't it? Was it a local car? Did you find it locally? Or?
From Morecambe.
Oh, right, so
Morecambe.
it's not too far then, is it?
The red one came from Kidderminster.
Oh, right.
So, and they're going up in price now.
Everything is, isn't it? As long as they're in half decent condition, you know, the sort of.
Yeah, and I've painted it. I mean, I've sprayed it. I've done all the welding to it.
Yeah.
Nobody's touched it apart from myself and my son. My son's done a bit of the upholstering line.
So these were very much rivals back in the day, weren't they?
Well,
These
they
two.
were, yeah, but they still race these against the Mini Cooper S's, and they do give them a hard challenge.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. 'Cause it's a good engine in these, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, basically, it's a racing engine. To be honest, it's all bucks and
it's a lot more advanced design in many ways, isn't it?
Yeah, and a limited slip diff.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well,
Yeah.
well, that's great though. Thanks for the little walk around and.
Thanks very much.
Here's that Gt6 Mark Iii that we saw pulling in before. Last of the Gt6s, the Mark III. Also, you had the Mark I, the Mark II, which introduced the Rotoflex rear suspension. Then you got the reskinned Mark III GT6, which also had the Rotoflex back end to begin with. And then they cheapened it slightly and went to the swing spring arrangement. I'm not sure which one this is, but it's a lovely car and a great colour actually. I do like the colour of this one. Many years ago I had a Mark III Spitfire with someone has shoehorned a 2.5 straight 6 in, and that went like a rocket, and they make a glorious noise as well. So this is the 2 litre straight 6 Triumph in there, and the TR5 of course had the 2.5 in it, and fuel injection of course. The American market cars were the TR250 and ours were the TR5, and that TR4A that came in before, the red one, had a Surrey top on it, and this has got one as well, and this one the panel's been removed so you can see how it worked. So it kept the fixed rear screen and the surround, the metal surround, but you got the open top motor in as well, so it was the best of both worlds really. And if it starts raining you just whiz the cover back on. Great stuff. I do like the look of these. I think they're a great looking car. That's F-Reg, so it's like 67, 68, something like that. So two great classic six-cylinder Triumphs together. And over here we've got a pedal pop, or more to the point, a drag-along pop. That's very cool, that is. On the back of this eye-catching Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 2, we've got a collection of fantastic, I presume these are scratch-built models. Here is the engine in the Shadow 2, a 6.75 litre V8.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
That's immaculate, isn't it?
You did it right.
And just facing the yellow Rolls-Royce, we have a yellow Triumph Spitfire, the 1500 model, last of the line. Shared its engine with the Midget, the last of the rubber bumper Midgets. Overdrive car, there's a switch on the gear lever. A few extra dials on the dash. Very clean car indeed. Of course, these ice cream vans we saw in the previous video. Mini Thames, the 307E, with a Bedford CF Mark I. There's a silver cloud that whispered its way in before. Anything take your fancy?
Everything. most things are pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which one would you drive home if you could drive any of them? Something with a heater.
Probably.
It's another green Imp this time. Another fully restored car. A very fetching shade of green, actually. I like that. There's something a bit different. There's certainly variety at this particular classic car show. We've got an Ultima here. What size engine was it?
6.3.
6.3 litre engine hidden away in the back. Wow.
Pretty mad thing, isn't it?
I heard it coming in. It was certainly sounded quite fruity. Here we have a World War II Jeep, of course. Fully restored, various bits and bobs of military kit tucked away in the back, various ammo boxes. Fully kitted out. The jerry can on the back.
Hold on to there. Stand on the middle of that seat. Just stand up.
Various ammo cases along here. First aid kit there. Fully kitted out. It's a nice fire extinguisher. Now over here, half in the sun and half in the shadow, we have a TR7 Sprint. Now, I wasn't sure whether they made any of these at the factory or whether it was just an aftermarket conversion that someone done in their garage, but I'm told the factory built a very small number of Dolomite Sprint engined TR7s, which seems like a very good idea to me. So if you know any more about these particular cars, please pop a note in the comments, because I'm the first to admit I don't know a great deal about these, but it's a very interesting car, especially if this was a factory built car. This Douglas is a regular. Now the Escort's been moved now to make way for the TVR. Well, there's an excellent turn out of classic Triumphs here today, and here we've got a Stag, black one on wires. What a stunning day it's turned out to be. Tucked away over here, we've got a very smart little Mini 35. Another one of the anniversary cars that they built over the years. Getting hard to find now in good condition. Over here we've got a wonderful MGC Roadster. Look at that. Big giveaway is the hump in the bonnet, of course, for the 6-cylinder engine. What a stunning car that is. And love the old Motorola radio in there. Well, my dad had that radio in his old Volvo back in the 1970s.
I'll show you Lloyd's van and then.
What a beauty. And within a stone's throw of the MGC, we've got a yellow rubber bumper Mgb Roadster. Roof down, of course. On a day like this, I'd expect nothing less. Really smart car. Over here, we have a chrome bumper Mgb Gt. So what's that, 67 or early 68? The very first of these didn't have the reverse lights on there. So if you see an Mgb, a GT, without those, that means it's one of the very first from, what, 66, I think it was. Definitely a very practical classic indeed. Great colour, chrome bumpers of course, looks great. But there is a following also now for the rubber bumper. Let me know in the comments which you prefer. Of course, it's 60 years since the MGB first came along. 1962 was the launch year. I'm guessing there'll be lots of celebrations in MG circles for that. Hiding away next to a Renault Megane, we've got this wonderful fixed head Lotus Elan. Just a beautiful little car. Look at those knock-on wheels. Absolutely stunning little car. Series 4. If you've made it this far in the video, I apologise again for rambling on a little bit. Thanks very much for sticking with it. Let me know in the comments which is your favourite of the old cars that are featured here, or even indeed there's plenty of trucks as well, so old cars or old trucks, let me know which are your favourites. I have to say this Elan's one of mine. Metro City on L plates there. And over here we've got the Ford Prefect that turns up at lots of the local shows. You'll have seen this one in the previous video, I hope. As our big Plymouth is just leaving. A modern Mini. It's a very bonny car, this one. Bit of information there. Let's have a closer look at this Woolsey fronted minivan. Really well done. Ooh, what do we have here then? Another hot rod. Move over, it says. Surrounded by V8s. The Mustang showing off its V8 engine. Super clean engine bay, I could never manage that. There's another interesting old Triumph. We've had Triumph 2000s over here, the Mark II. TR5, Spitfire Gt6 and the TR3A inside, and this is the Mark II 2500 injection, the PI car. This one appeared at one of the recent meets here. It's quite rare to see one still in running condition now. Shared much of its engine, of course, with the TR5 and the TR6, very similar setup, Lucas fuel injection. I think they're a very elegant car, these. I still can't make my mind up whether I prefer the Mark I or the Mark II. But to be honest, I'd probably be happy with either of them. XR3i Cabriolet. Who remembers those? I remember a neighbour used to have one. I used to wash it for him for making a couple of extra pounds when I was very young. This Firebird's a very cool car indeed, G registration. Hiding away over here, we've got a little Lambretta. Wow. Here's a rare beast. Here's a droop snoot, one of the droop snoot Vauxhalls, and this is the Sport Hatch, I do believe. The owner of this one frequents the Old Classic Car Forum, which is part of the main Old Classic Car site, of course. Well, he's very keen on these. That's a very rare car now. Of course, the Dodge is hiding away over here. We were one of the first here. Tucked away. Like I said, this is a 1924 car, 3.5 litre 4-cylinder side valve. It's nice to have it out and about. It's not been to a show for probably 4 years, I would have thought. But it's spent most of its life, as I think I said before, I think it's spent nearly all its life in Australia. So it's 98 years old now. And the first 88 of those were in Australia. Then it came here about 10 or 11 years ago, and I bought it 10 years ago. It wasn't quite running correctly then, but we've got it something like now. There's always something to do, but it seems to work. That's the main thing. It's a real plodder. It's a very torquey engine. It doesn't rev at all, but you put it in top gear and you hardly ever have to change down again. That's the great thing about this one. I'll put a bit of history in the window there, actually. That's the original supplying dealer in Adelaide. I found that in an old newspaper, that particular advert. Those wooden wheels, brakes at the back only. There's no brakes at the front. You've got a rear-mounted tank at the back. The pedals are in the wrong order, so you've got the throttle in the middle. The gears are all the wrong way around as well, just to make life exciting. Have a quick look over here. And I put this old fire extinguisher in it a little while back. I've never seen one of those small Pyrene fire extinguishers marked up for light cars. So when that popped up on an auction site, I made sure I got that. There's the original supplying dealer plaque. Tucked away around here, we've got that black Stag that drove in before. And this is its 3 litre V8 engine. Many of these were converted to 3.5 litre Rover engines back in the 80s and 90s, but I think there's more of a movement now to put the original engine back into them. I think they're pretty much sorted. Back in the day, they weren't always a paragon of reliability, but I think with modern technology and decent radiator, I think they're pretty much reliable now. There's a whopper back here, a Ford. It says 1976 Gran Torino Elite. Heavens, big 2-door. What a monster that is. Not sure I've seen one of those before, outside of a Dirty Harry film, that is. These like little opera windows, I think they used to call those. Gran Torino. The scooters are multiplying. Silverado. I wonder what the story with these bells is. Had to be done. They're often missing the headlights, they snap off quite easily, so any of these with the lamp still on, it's quite a nice find. Always a few motorcycles here. We've got a Bmw R75, so what's that, 1970s or early 1980s perhaps. Alongside that a Motor Guzzi. That's one handsome engine. Shaft drive on these. Cavaliers are becoming a rare sight now. This is an SRI, the sporty one. I guess this is an excellent opportunity to have a quick look in the APT, Advanced Passenger Train. One of the exhibits here at Crewe Heritage Centre, along with lots of other locomotive goodies. Here we go. This was cutting edge stuff back in the day. APT driving cab number 37003, built at Derby in May 1978. This driving cab saw testing services during the early 80s, then passenger service from 83 to 85. Then again from 1985 until withdrawn in early 1987. It was used for testing purposes again on the West Coast Main Line. As all the original fixtures, of which the clockworks, lights for the front of the train, also the wipers and horns work when the air compressor is switched on at the back of the train. And just outside there is the West Coast Main Line. I mean, just compare this to the steam locomotives that were just a few years before, 20 years before. I guess there was still plenty of steam around, but this is like night and day compared to those days. The APT was quite revolutionary because it was designed to tilt into the corners, so enabling you to carry high speeds, I imagine. But it never really took off, sadly. But it's great that this one's preserved here in sunny Crewe, and it's open for us to have a look in, which is even better. Right, let's carry on looking at some cars. There's a TVR 350i.
Married me as an old cut.
Piece of paper further down.
You want to get round in one? Get round in 100E.
Didn't see this when I was walking around before. 1275 GT, bright yellow. Of course, these were available back in the day, certainly the early ones, with the De Novo run flat tyres and the very distinctive wheels that the cars had back then. Well, things are starting to quieten down now. The car park is more or less empty, so I think we will wrap it up and call it a day. Little Dodge has had an airing, so that's all good. We'll stagger off back home and go and tuck it away again. So, thanks very much for watching. There's plenty of other videos on the channel now to do with classic vintage cars, so keep an eye on the channel for future updates and more videos along very, very soon. Bye for now.